Hello everyone, it's me Lemoni and happy Monday. And today for you, I have the absolute best PvP build for strict healing right now. I want to preface this is not a damage build. Sure, you can do a little bit, but your damage is going to come from your life staff. And our secondary weapon, the Rapier, is going to serve as a utility weapon to allow us to reposition, survive, and do a ton of extra things within a fight. So the Rapier has three abilities. We'll be using Riposte, Evade, and the Dash, the little tornado dash. These will all serve as a great way to escape fights and reset so that you can keep your team going and win a fight. Now, I've tried a lot of different weapons, right? I thought with the current meta of Great Axe and Warhammer and being CC trained by 5-man teams, why not just whip a Warhammer right back at them? Sure, you can CC, but what does that do against a large group? Absolutely nothing. I thought Great Axe, you know what? Maybe we can gravity well people and dash out with charge. Charge will automatically be used if anybody's close to you, like as it's a hit, and Gravity Well doesn't do a whole lot. There's a lot to escape it. The Rapier has the ultimate healer utility that nobody else is using. I have not seen a single other healer use it. It allows us to block CC and actually CC people back, and it gives us a ton of haste to escape fights. Now, comboed with that, we are extremely tanky, but we're playing in medium armor. There's a couple things we address and a couple things we do that make us tankier than usual, and we still put out a ton of healing, enough to always be the top healer in our OPRs. Now, before we start, if you could just keep doing that weird YouTube stuff, please like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, tell everybody you know, tell them I'm streaming, tell them I'm doing things, that I have a Discord, all that jazz. So for all of you, my Discord is linked below. Please join up. We have a lot more people in there than we did. We figured some things out. We got more people in. 2, follow my Twitch. We've been streaming on Twitch. This is how we kind of discovered this build. I've been theory crafting, talking to a lot of people, answering questions. They send me builds and I'll go through it on stream. DM me on Discord if you have any questions. Message me on Twitch. Come hang out. So join the Discord, follow the Twitch. If you want to support me directly, I always have a Patreon too. Now, this build. The Rapier, I have not tested it like this before. And the first game that I played with it, I was absolutely shocked at what I was able to do. Anybody that's coming at you, whether it's a hammer ready to shockwave or an axe ready to throw a gravwell, you can riposte. Dodge that CC. The coolest thing is when somebody comes up to shockwave you, you block it with riposte and then stun them back. You'll evade backwards and you just turn around and tornado spin. And you're out of there. You have enough haste, you animation cancel, and you clear these huge gaps. And nobody can keep up with you. I've outran like 8 people at once, and you can stun multiple people through a post. It is a fantastic healer build, and again, I have not seen a single other person do it. So many people in this current meta are getting overwhelmed by hammers and axes, and sadly enough, even with the changes to Great Axe that are coming, it will still be the same with the amount of CC. So we need a consistent way to keep escaping all of the CC that's going to continue coming, and the Rapier has served as the absolute best option. Everything else just does not even come close. You could argue a Fire Staff has a lot of mobility with charge, animations take too long, and too long of a cooldown. Rapier allows you to reset, CC people back, and keep flying around back and forth on the battlefield so you can heal whoever you need to heal, get out and save yourself, reposition, and do everything. So sit back, enjoy all the gameplay you're going to see, and let's go in to the deep dive so that all of you can succeed at the healer role in PvP. All right, so here we are, newworldcalculator.org, and you'll see I have the life staff up. Now to save you time, this is going to be a very, very similar life staff build to what I normally do. Every single build for the past month and a half that I've given you has been the same life staff. Unfortunately, that's just the meta we're in. So if you want to skip to the bookmark and just see the final build, go right ahead. But if you look just right near the top, I'll have the build linked for my healing meta that I would normally do, and I do a deep dive where I explain every single point that I'm taking. So consider to look at that as well. Anyway, we'll still take Absolved, so strong, but the big difference here is I'm going to take Blissful Touch. So much of your healing comes from Blissful Touch and just repositioning and shooting through everybody, but I'm not going to take Mending Touch. I think in PvP, Mending Touch is a little bit wasted. There's not as much to take off. Sure, there's some slows maybe that you can get off. Maybe there's a bleed or a fire dot once in a while, but it is extremely hard to hit a Mending Touch in PvP, honestly. So what do? I end up taking Enchanted Justice. I always say it's garbage. It's a 2-minute cooldown. It's a little bit of healing. It does scale off focus, but sometimes it's just nice to get a little bit of a extra burst, keep yourself alive. When it does scale off focus, it is more than you'd think, a lot more than you'd think, and it's a nice chunk of healing, and it's AoE free and keeps you alive in some situations. So I would just take this because we don't get a lot of value out of Mending Touch. But the rest of it, folks, is exactly the same. Sacred Ground is going to be your huge source of healing, and you can use Sacred Ground as a huge healing opportunity because you can put it down and then combo it with Light's Embrace so that you get this extra 50% heal. They also get 2 buffs because they're inside of Sacred Ground, and you get a lot more healing on the top. So when you need to hit those 7, 8k heals to keep somebody alive, Sacred Ground them first and then hit them with Light's Embrace. We'll then go into Sacred Protection, get increased healing by 5%, Intensify is very strong, a little harder to keep up in PvP, but absolutely necessary. When you have a full Intensify, a Bend Light, buffed up in a Sacred Ground, and you Light's Embrace them, this is where you're going to still heal people for like 8 to 9k, even without 300 focus. It is insane. So we'll keep going. Protector's Touch is absolutely necessary. Light and heavy attacks are giving us a constant 15% fortify on top of all of our tankiness. Then we get another 15% fortify for everything else. Why not? It's insane. We'll take Beacon, 2 points in. Now you can consider maybe not taking something like Protector Strength and going into Speed of Light if you want a little bit more haste. This will only apply when you are healed by the heal over time. It's going to be really beneficial to you because you don't have to stay in Beacon, but for other players, you're going to have to connect it to them for them to get the full, real good usage out of it. But anytime you get healed, you get a 20% haste buff. So I would really consider possibly taking Speed of Light. I just go Protector Strength just because I want more healing output in general because we have a little bit less focus. We'll then take 1 point into Light's Embrace. So now that we have these, what I would normally say to do is take Spirits United. Now this is something you can still do, but it's going to raise the healing floor of our Light's Embrace by another 30%. But it's only for people in our party. And when you're running things like War or OPR, that's only 5 people. So it could benefit you a lot as a healer just to give yourself another 30%. But what I think you get the most benefit from, especially when you're trying to counter CC and dive bombs on top of you, Speed of Light is an absolutely fantastic pick when you're in PvP. Now when you're in PvE, I will 100% say take Spirits United for that increased floor. But right now, Speed of Light it's an insane amount of haste comboed with your Rapier. So to get out of kind of tricky situations, this will help a lot. And as a healer, you can put down Beacon, just toe dip in it, and you get that hot. Every time you heal then, you'll get that little boost of haste. You can connect it to people and they can run super fast too. So in general, this is what I'm going to say you should take as a PvP healer. Our left side on the healing side, you get rid of Mending Touch and you take Enchanted Justice just for some extra healing output because Mending Touch has way less value in PvP. And on the Protector side, we're going to drop Spirits United because this only applies to our group. And so we're either in a 25-man or a 50-man for Wars or OPR, and instead take Speed of Light so that we can peel for ourselves and get out of tricky situations. Now, for the Rapier, things aren't really going to matter as much for the Rapier side of things. The real big thing is that we take essentially all of the grace points. So we're going to go into Evade, and this is going to give you a nice little iframe window, and also another way to get some haste once we go into Allegro. So we'll get Breathe In, more stamina, right? Fantastic, and we'll get Allegro. So our ideal escape would be to dash, animation cancel, then evade, then do like a tornado dash. But it depends on where you're at. If you have people up in your face, you're gonna have to riposte first, then you can evade backwards, and then I always just quick flick and turn around and dash away. I think that's the absolute best combo. You could also just do a 90-degree turn and dash away, or you can dash across the battlefield to go heal your teammates. If you're just running away, or if you're looking for more movement, I would dash animation cancel into an evade, then I would double dash again with animation cancels because you have enough stamina, and then I would tornado spin. Anyway, I'm going to say just keep maxing it out. This is great. If you want to do a damage hybrid, you could probably go 150 focus, 150 dex and do something with it. This is something I'll be playing with throughout the week. And then we'll just take Crescendo because why not? If we light attack at all, it just reduces the cooldown of this. Sometimes you can get a little swipe in while you dash. Maybe you're just trying to get around somebody. It's another great way to use evade. We'll then go all the way into riposte. So we'll take it. What this will do is you'll put your sword out, and then when they hit you, you can stun them back. So when they shockwave, when they Path of Destiny, when they try to flatten you, when they throw a grav well at you and then they run up to your face, you can hit them with their post, then dash away. You can use both evade and your spin to get out of those grav wells. We'll then take Insult to Injury. All attacks become uninterruptible. Why not? Just go for it. But priority, this is going to be fantastic in those PvP, kind of dashing back and forth situations. So all cooldowns will be reduced by 20% when you land that stun. So let's say you've already evaded and done your spin to get across somewhere, but they're still following you. Well, riposte will come back up pretty quick. If you can land that CC, pretty much evade will be back up and your spin will be almost back up. There's a lot of ways you can just move back and forth, especially if you're hitting your riposte stuns. So keep that in mind when your cooldowns are getting pretty low, but somebody's up in your face. Riposte is up. Use it. Use that to your advantage and get away. We'll then just take lasting consequence because we're not trying to hit them right after we stun them. We're trying to leave that stun so that we can make room for ourselves. So having a stun that lasts 2.5 seconds is very, very, very valuable as long as you don't touch them to wake them up so that they aren't stunned anymore. We'll then just go into the spin. And again, this is where I'm at on live. I don't have mine maxed to 20 yet. I just have up to quick lunge. This is going to reduce the cooldown by 80% if you get a killing blow with it. Now, it doesn't do a lot of damage with our big focus setup, but if you do happen to just coincidentally get a killing blow off of it, it's a lot more movement opportunity that you have in front of you. So keep that in mind. It's a very niche consequence, but it's still possible. So I would take up to quick lunge for sure. And this is the actual PvP. This is all you need to really have the utility to succeed against hammers and axes. Now the rest is really up to you. I think personally what I would just end up doing is taking momentum so we get increased damage. I would take red curtains. If I dash through people, I can get some cooldown reduction if I crit it all. I would take controlled breathing, just 3 stamina on any hit. So that applies also to our dash, our riposte. It gives us a little bit more stamina. Maybe you did some dodge animation cancels and you need some back. I would also then just take swiftness. Why not get an extra opportunity for some haste? And this again applies to any hit. So it should apply to our tornado dash as well. You could then, if you want to, take perfectionist, but I don't think so. So then I'm just going to go over onto the blood side, reduced all cooldowns by 1% on any hit. This should apply to abilities as well. We don't do any bleeding. You could consider, doing 10% more damage when your target has greater than 50% health. A nice little thing to take, but that's pretty much all on this side. Now back on the gray side, I don't really love these last two, but I think you'll find the most value doing something like desperation and then going into backside just to get that extra crit chance. There's not a lot of value with perfectionist. I mean, you can keep your health pretty full, but again, we're going to be in the thick of it. So I don't think there's a lot of value because in PvP, you're going to be taking pretty constant damage. But with that being said, we will always take a diamond. We try to keep our health high, but I just don't think there's as much opportunity between perfectionist and backside if you're whipping your rapier out. That's just my personal opinion. So if you're coming from the bookmark, this is what we do for the most PvP healer utility. We want as much movement, as much haste, and as much opportunity to get away from CC as humanly possible so that you can dash away anywhere on the battlefield and have a ton of healing success. All right, so let's get into gearing and attributes. Here are my attributes. I'm running literally nothing but focus and con, but you'll see that I have 200 con, okay? And this is absolutely huge for PvP. I can still play in medium armor. I have a ton of health, a ton of survivability, and I'm at almost 13k health, right? I don't take that much damage. I have a constant 15% fortify rolling on me, and I'm still in medium so that I can dodge away. I can do those animation cancel dodges to clear a lot of space. So let's just get into it. I'm at 247 focus. Ideally, I could just get the last 3 points off some better gear. My gear isn't the greatest, and I wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. You want to shoot for 250 and 200 for ultimate PvP healing. We'll get that 30 mana on any self or group kill. We get the 20% duration on casted buffs. Now this applies to mainly fortifies, not really heals over time. So like our fortifying sacred ground that is absolutely necessary. We'll then get 20% healing output still. And then we just get 20 mana pool and 10% mana regen rate. All that's just quality of life. Real nice to have though. And then the 200 con though is where things really get spicy. Now you will see that this last little bit is purple. That's because I get 20 of it from food. Is that cheating? I don't think so. Okay. Use a food buff. The 20 con food is like 8 gold on my server on Eden right now, right? And it gives us a lot more utility. We get 20% increase to armor. I feel that this 20% increase to armor while also playing in medium makes us essentially a heavy boy with 13k health. So I don't really have to worry. So we have that 20% increase to armor. We have the 200 con for just general health. We get minus 10% to critical damage taken. We get 10% max health based on physical armor. And we get 20% stronger health consumables. There are some times where I just pop a quick healing pot. It is okay. But this max health increase based on 10% of our physical armor also synergizes very well with the 20% increased armor. That's just more flat health that we get. So again, I would suggest having these. Ideally, I get this to 250 just for the sake of rounding numbers and getting this last bubble. It's not make or break. You can get mana potions in OPR. I found that out on stream live, so it's a little embarrassing. But you can get mana that way. You can also just pop your own mana potions. They are relatively cheap. The big thing though is having this 200 con for survivability so that you can wear medium armor in PvP. You can be mobile and you can get away from everyone. For gearing, again, I'm in medium armor. My gear is not the best. But this 22.9, you're going to want heavy helmet, heavy chest, medium gloves, light pants, medium boots. I have all onyxes in. You're going to face the most physical damage in PvP, so keep that in mind. Now, what perks am I shooting for? They're all life staff perks. The Rapier's just quality of life. There are some things you could go for if you're starting to do a damage hybrid, but that's something we're going to address in a later video. But if you look, my chest has Fortifying Sacred Ground. This one is absolutely necessary to have. Giving this extra Fortify to people, especially yourself, if you have your other Fortify rolling, I'm sitting at about a 24% Fortify, just, passively, if I'm sitting in my Sacred Ground and shooting people. It's easy. It's a lot of extra survivability. Now put that on top of 13,000 health. I don't die. It is very hard for me to die. There are very few times that I actually die. Max I die in a game is 2 times. Now the other one that's really nice with this setup is having Accelerating Light's Embrace. So when you heal anybody, it says below full health. So whenever they've taken damage, you get a haste buff for 3 seconds that is 23%. Now combo that with Accelerating Beacon, combo that with some of your other, Rapier stuff, you are going to be flying out of places. No sweat. Super easy. You can do some great things here. The last one that I just can't find a focus piece with is Revitalizing Beacon. This is going to increase your own self-healing when used on yourself with Beacon, but it's going to increase it by like a 30 to 40% number. It is very strong in a PvP setting, especially because with Beacon, we just toe dip and it's always on us. So having that increased healing power is fantastic. Yes, it only applies to ourselves, but that's our big concern. How is everybody else going to get healed if you aren't healing yourself? So those are the 3 main perks. Otherwise, again, I'm just in focus con gear for the most part. It's all focus con. It's not the greatest gear, but again, it's getting me by. I'm going to focus on getting new gear this week. We've got a lot of other things to tackle. Jewelry, I'm still running this. Focus, you want something with health, and I would love to have Divine on this. I'm going to be looking for another necklace this week. You want a necklace with Divine and health. If you can also get Fortify, again, I always say you want the Infinity Crystal roll with focus on it. So Infinity Crystal itself has 23 strength, right? But it has Divine, Fortified, and health. These are the god tier rolls that you really, really want. Don't really care about the gem. I want those perks really badly. So that's best in slot. My ring, I'm just running Silver Leaf. You get this in the Eternal Pools. It gives you that focus. It gives you a max mana roll, and then it gives you Sacred. Ideally, you get Sacred. Sacred is the big thing here. We want outgoing healing. So you're going to want something with focus and Sacred. Baseline. Whatever else you can get is just kind of cherry on the top. So keep that in mind. And then I'm still running Ill-Gotten Gain as my healer setup. I'm getting that 20 con. Refreshing Toast is nice with how many mana potions we end up using. So the cooldown comes up faster. We get that flat health per second. And we have a chance that we don't consume a mana potion. Why not? Why not use it? It's fantastic. Great legendary. I have a video actually on how to farm it. It's one of my first ones. So go back if you don't know where to get it. Weapons. Still running good old reliable. I'm working on getting a new one. I'll probably craft one this week. This week I want to focus on gearing for myself in my main role. I'm doing too much hybrid stuff, doing all kinds of stuff that I don't have my own main gear set, and I'm not really working on it. So we're making that the priority. Life staff though. Blessed is the priority with a diamond in it. This is going to give you the most healing output. Blessed just outscales a lot of other life staffs, but it depends on how high you can get it. In general, if you can get Blessed, that is what you need. Combo it with something like Refreshing Move, which is second best in slot. Refreshing Move stacks with your light attack cooldown reduction. So you're getting a ton of time off of Beacon and Sacred Ground when you light attack. But with Refreshing Move, also when you're heavy attacking for Intensify stacks, this will also reduce Beacon and Sacred Ground cooldowns. Great to have. Another alternative, you could get mana back on hit. You could get Fortifying Sacred Ground. If you could get Revitalizing Beacon on this, it'd be great. But Fortifying Sacred Ground's a little tough because if you put down Sacred Ground, then weapon swap, people will not get Fortify from it anymore. So it's great to have it on a piece of gear. That's why I try to have those perks on my gear, and I try to have something like Refreshing Move and Blessed only where it can roll on the offensive weapon slots. So it's really important to keep that in mind. If you have it on your gear, it will always apply. If you have it on your weapon, it won't if the weapon is not active. Rapier doesn't really matter. If you can get Refreshing Strikes on it, that would be great. Just when you riposte, it gives you some more cooldown reduction. But again, you just want a con focus roll or a straight focus or a straight con, something that will actually benefit you. And again, we're using it for the utility here. I have a 50% Amber Gem in just because I am scaling purely focus. So that's my only reason. This is the only case I would ever use the 50% roll. I wouldn't in any other situation. I just would not get any damage at all out of it if I didn't have this roll set up. So this is ideal for gearing. And again, I was saying I use food. This food is the one I've been using. If you can get calamari to get the 30, if you want to spend the money on the 40, then you can put more focus in and do less con, right? So I base my con based on which food I'm using. If I'd be going calamari for the 30, I'd be shooting for 170 con, eat it to go to 200. If I'm using the 40, 160, eat it to 200. But right now I'm just using game meat with citrus glaze, 8 gold, 20 con for 30 minutes. Very easy, really, really, really nice. So please use that. It will change your life. I'm not lying. Make sure you have things like honing stones ready just for extra healing output damage. You can really duel with your life staff in those outpost rushes with those light armor people. That's everything I would say for gearing. All right, so let's dive into a little bit of gameplay to cover how this build excels in PvP settings. It's going to be great for OPR and it's going to be great for War. You're going to see that with this attribute setup, I can still solo heal multiple targets against many other targets. You do a lot of healing still, but then you have the ability to peel yourself in and out of any fight. This is why it's fantastic in the current meta. Hammers come at you, axes come at you. You have all this CC. Rapier allows you to dash through people. You don't get interrupted when you hit somebody with it. You have a lot of haste. You have a lot of juking and movement between the medium armor and the evade. And then riposte kind of saves your life against any stuns or anybody who gets up in your face who's ready to do a ton of damage. You can take an absolute beating. You'll see I just sit there and tank a lot of hits. Again, I'm not in heavy armor. I'm playing completely medium because I want that extra bit of mobility. Anybody that comes up to me just can't kill me in any 1v1, 1v2. I can heal myself through it. The only time I struggle is through that 5-man CC train if I misplay a little bit, but by having riposte and all of the utility on that rapier, you are in a great spot. So, looking at just some gameplay here, you'll watch I'm always trying to heavy attack, make sure that I have my intensifies rolling. I'll put down sacred ground before I beacon to get the best beacon possible, and I'm always lights embracing. I'm trying to top people off. The targeting system, if you have group mode off, will let you use lights embrace on absolutely anybody. It is a little harder to target, but if you're aiming at your teammate that needs the healing, you get up close and then try to target heal them, you will have more success. That is also why the rapier shines as the best weapon combo. A lot of the times that I can get a targeted lights embrace off, I have to be within melee range, meaning I'm going to have a lot of opportunity to get hit. So I go in, put down all my heals, lights embrace whoever needs to be lights embraced, and then I do everything I can to get out of the fight and reset into a position to help my team. That is the goal. You need to be in a great position. Healing in OPRs, healing in wars is all about your own individual positioning so that you can maintain everybody in a fight. I have the tankiness to just get absolutely smacked. I have that back pocket escape so that I can reset any fight, and I can solo heal a ton of damage, even though I'm not at 300 focus. If you want to, you could maybe even go less con if you want to play a little bit more lax and have more healing output. But I think with playing in medium and with this much focus, it gives us all the output we need, right? We could play in heavy, we'd lack some mobility, we'd get more health and tankiness, but I think the 15% healing output we get from being in medium armor is by far better than any tankiness we'll get in heavy, because we have everything necessary to keep ourselves alive. I know I'm really emphasizing this ability to keep ourselves alive and reset and, take on the 1v1 and still keep healing. Yes, you'll see all of my damage numbers. I don't do any damage with the rapier, but there is no other build out there that is letting us do this. Anything else, like I was saying earlier, axe charges will hit somebody else. It doesn't have the mobility. It has a longer cooldown. There's nothing to reset those cooldowns. The hammer, sure, it's great if you're in an organized group, just in a stun comp. But what happens when they outstun you? What are you going to do? Any window you can pull out that rapier, make sure you instantly cast riposte. It'll give you that invulnerability that you need, and then just turn around and dash away. That's all. You can outrun people, you can out heal people, and you can just keep repositioning back and forth, and nobody will keep up to you. Sure, it's more kind of intricate, difficult style of play, but I can assure you that it is extremely rewarding, extremely fun, and this is by far my favorite healing build. I would only be using it for PvP because we get so much healing output from something like the Void Gauntlet in those settings. I think in PvP though, if you're trying to use the Void Gauntlet, it's much, much more difficult than using something like the Rapier because we have no escape. Void Gauntlet can give you a lot more healing, but it doesn't give you the survivability. And at the end of the day, a dead healer does no healing, meaning your whole group will die, you will lose points, and you will lose fights. I have kept groups going and points held because I'm able to kite people, stun them, dash around and do everything I need to do to keep a group of 5 alive against another group of 5, or a group of 5 alive against a group of 8, stuff like that. I've kept me and somebody else up against a group of 4 and killed everybody over and over and over again in their spawn. It is a ton of healing, a ton of survivability, and all that utility. I know I'm emphasizing that, but that is what I want you to take away from this. It's harder to play, but it is much more fun and actually allows you to counter this mindless meta of swinging an axe and CCing with a hammer. So what I'm asking you to do is give the Rapier a chance with the abilities I said to use. Watch how I play. Keep looking back at these clips and try to emulate that style of movement, try to emulate that style of play. Hit up my live stream so you can see this. There were a lot of people telling me when I was streaming, I started doing this and I stopped dying. I started moving the same way. I started doing the same things you do, thinking the way that you think. And having that live stream is a great opportunity to do that. Having these videos to look back on now, great opportunity to do that. You can always improve your style of play by looking back at your recordings. I would personally record your own gameplay, figure out where did I go wrong in this scenario. That's been something really helpful for me. Nonetheless, thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. I hope that I maybe shed some light on how to actually PvP heal. That's something a lot of people have been asking me to do. So many people have been struggling with this current meta. It is a very frustrating one, but this is the way to counter it as a healer. You're going to be focused, and we need a way to escape. In general, I just want to say thank you all for this crazy support we continue to have. This has been so much over the past month and a half, and I am beyond thankful for every single one of you. I just ask that you keep doing that weird YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, and follow us on Twitch if you want some of this gameplay, if you want to know how I'm thinking, if you want me to help you improve your play. Also, join up in our Discord. We have a ton of people in there ready to talk, and if you want to, we have a company started on Eden. We are filling it with whoever wants to join. If you'd like to be a part of the company, come join an actual populated server where you can have some fun and do other things. There's no requirement to join. We're just going to start filling companies as people get there. We have about 80 people right now. Feel free, if you're ready for a fresh start, to come and join us. As always, if you want to support me directly, you can hit up my Patreon. So what I'm going to do, like normal, is read through every single one of my patrons because I think it's important and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, Jacob, Adrian, Thuggius, Shane, Gil, Schmeezy, Anarino, Ajuro, Nathaniel, Donar, Casio, Joseph, Tarvi, Generic Guy, Ronan, Ralph, Bob, Florian, Blue Beagle, GDB, Jay Kitchens, Wentz, Dexter, Rich, Rob, Matthew, and Josh. Thank you, every single one of you, for your support, but thank you for everybody just watching this video. I appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening, and thank you all for being you.